I absolutely can't stand him.
Hey, 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 hey!
As a kid, I thought his streak was corny. As an adult, I think he's a crybaby brat who just happens to be very strong. He's constantly shitting on the fans. He's constantly shitting on the business of professional wrestling. And he's never once genuinely expressed gratitude for the fame and fortune he's found with the help of everybody else in this industry. He's known to have a distaste for the business of professional wrestling, and he really only reflects fondly on his very first dominant run in WCW. And I'll talk about that in another video, but I believe that all of this is because Goldberg is the biggest, stupidest idiot mark of all time, and he marks out for himself harder than anybody else.
What?
Okay, hold on. Goldberg is, without a doubt, absolutely legendary. I couldn't sit here and make a video denying that. That would be utter stupidity. You won't ever hear me denying that Goldberg belongs on the Mount Olympus of professional wrestling. He's right up there with all the other immortals. He's definitely a big part of pro wrestling history. But we've all heard the common criticisms. Goldberg can't wrestle long matches. Goldberg's an unsafe worker. Goldberg has no love for the wrestling business and doesn't like the fans. But it's a lot worse than that. Goldberg actively looks down on the business, and without it, he would have just been another random nobody from the NFL. It would be really easy to sit here and break down all of the common complaints that you can find on the internet, and that's not at all what I'm looking to do here. I've actually been spending a lot of time crawling through hours and hours of Goldberg interviews, watching his matches, just trying to figure out exactly why I hate him so much. And that's when I came across this interview by Inside the Ropes, where he talks about his hesitation in joining WWE.
It was run by people that I didn't know, filled with people working as wrestlers that I had no clue were. I just thought it was always the bad, it was the enemy.
I don't believe this!
No way. So it was tough. It was a really tough decision.
Now, to be fair, he's talking about his apprehensions prior to joining, not how he felt afterwards. But it still blows my mind that he sat on stage, said some of the things that he said, because in his very first feud in the WWE with The Rock, Goldberg was booked to be an absolutely unstoppable babyface monster, and he was put over with a mega clean victory. Alright, anyway, let's get to it. It's time we jump off the top turnbuckle and dive into this topic elbow first. When Goldberg debuts, he interrupts The Rock during The Rock's Appreciation Night. It was a rock concert. Well, The Rock was in the middle of his Hollywood Rock heel run, which is arguably one of the best and most successful runs of all time. That's when Goldberg debuted. The Rock was, without a doubt, one of the industry's top stars already. He had transcended professional wrestling. He's broken into the mainstream. But he wasn't quite yet the $7 production version of Dwayne Johnson that we have today in 2024. But he was already undeniably one of the industry's biggest breakout stars. So Goldberg debuts on March 31st, 2003. Here's how The Rock, again, arguably the WWE's biggest star in 2003, chose to put Goldberg over. 1. During The Rock Appreciation Night, Goldberg debuts to interrupt. 2. The Rock gets floored by a spear and oversells it without, HBK levels of overselling, of course, but he still oversells it. And the announcers are consistently putting him over on commentary. A week later, on April 7th, The Rock calls out Goldberg. And here, we see Goldberg's booked very strong again. The Rock is a multi-time champion who's literally whooped the shit out of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, and many others. And he's scared of Goldberg. The next week, April 14th, Goldberg's in a segment with Goldust. Now, he's complained about this. Here's the clip.
After 2 weeks, they put a wig on me. Figure that.
He says 2 weeks in, they put him in a wig. But if you watch the actual segment, they put him in a wig and then he immediately bullies Goldust. He's booked to be shown as a no-nonsense badass, and he intimidates Goldust, telling him, "Don't ever put that wig on my head again." The next week, April 21st, The Rock has Rock Appreciation Night do-over. We call it The Rock Concert 2. And guess what? Guess who's going to interrupt? Guess who's going to be booked strongly again? No, not not Goldberg. Goldberg. Goldberg does come out, which gives us a really great throwback to the Monday Night Wars. But spoiler alert, Goldberg's gonna try to get his revenge on Goldberg. So again, Goldberg being booked favorably. Then Goldberg interrupts The Rock Concert 2. The Rock immediately, as he's been doing the whole time, acts like a coward. He calls for security, saying Goldberg's not even supposed to be here tonight. Next, we're treated to an amazing demonstration of The Rock's great work as a heel. He blames it on Goldberg. He says, "Goldberg, you're the one who's in big trouble. You've been making fun of him for years." He says he knows because Goldberg doesn't have the balls to come out and face The Rock. Meanwhile, Coachman and Jerry Lawler are selling Goldberg on commentary the entire time. So Goldberg comes down, there's a bunch of security guards, and he pushes through them like they're just a shower curtain. The Rock, what does he do? Continues to do great heel work, running away scared, leaving Goldberg behind with the security guards to deal with Goldberg's anger. But I'm still just not seeing what there is to complain about here. I just don't see it, Goldberg. But let's see what happens next. Wow. Goldberg demonstrating that he's a consistently unsafe worker. There's no way that these attacks on the security guards were safe. There's just not. The Rock, though, comes in from behind and he hits a rock bottom. It's beautiful. The Rock saves Dwayne Gill. I lied about the spoiler alert. Goldberg does not get his revenge. But in traditional booking, what would happen here? It's a really appropriate moment for the heel to show that he has a chance to win. The Rock needs to demonstrate to the audience that despite being a cowardly heel, he does still pose a legitimate threat. But guess what? Nope. Guess what? This is not traditional booking. This is Goldberg booking. He immediately gets up from the rock bottom. So the Rock pretends to leave the arena. He runs away, tricking Goldberg into thinking he left in a vehicle. So what happens next? After Goldberg followed him out of the arena, the Rock reappears. Ha ha ha, I played a joke on everybody. Let me go ahead and finish the Rock concert. But he gets interrupted again by Goldberg, who, smarter than the Rock, the smart babyface, outsmarted the Rock and is still in the arena to ambush him. Now, I don't know why Christian was involved in this feud, but he comes in and ambushes Goldberg. That's the only way the Rock's able to turn the tide. So at this point, Goldberg's going to get his ass worn out with a steel chair. This includes one of the greatest headshot sells that I have ever seen. I will say, I thoroughly enjoy watching that on repeat. But even this isn't enough to keep Goldberg down. He still stands tall at the end, with The Rock looking terrified. How much stronger can we book this guy? I just don't understand what there is to complain about. So this brings us to Backlash. So far, everything's been handed to Goldberg on a silver platter, but he's still complaining about it. And guess what? What do you think happens at Backlash? Goldberg kicks out of the people's elbow. The most electrifying move in sports entertainment. And then, spear. The Rock literally sells the devastation of the spear for a full minute. Count it. It's over 60 seconds. The Rock's laying on the floor saying things like, "Holy shit." He's sitting there spitting up. Literally, Jerry the King Lawler says, "Oh my God, The Rock is spitting up." You've got to watch it yourself to see how ridiculous it is. And then, of course, Goldberg wins in a very dominant and clean fashion by finishing the job with a jackhammer. So far, I don't see anything about the way that Goldberg's been booked during his debut in the WWE that warrants complaining. Hey! This guy was given absolutely everything to make himself look as dominant as he did in WCW. There's nothing here working against him. There's nothing here that is an attempt to bury him. Everything's being given to this guy on a silver platter, and it's just still not good enough. So let's go ahead. let's take a look at a few of the comments that he's made on different interviews. Mostly these come from inside the ropes regarding his time at WWE.
Was there one part of it at least that you kind of go, I enjoyed doing that a lot?
When I got to WWE, man, no, not really. I enjoyed throwing Jericho through that stuff with the Elimination Chamber. I enjoyed stuff like that.
You debuted in a rivalry with The Rock.
I mean, I wish he would have done a little bit more physical stuff and let me do a little bit more things to him.
What the hell are you talking about, Bill? What do you mean? Like, you wish that The Rock would have let you do a little bit more stuff to him? What do you mean? Like the way that you abused the security guards with your unsafe work? I mean, what else could The Rock have let you do to him that he didn't already do in this feud? Spear his ass? I'll leave that alone for now. Then, when asked if he enjoyed anything about his run in the WWE, he goes on to say,
Yeah, my work at WCW was awesome. I had a great time there. WWE was a little bit different.
why do you think he didn't enjoy his time at WWE compared to WCW? It's because he was booked to be the guy that nobody could beat. He's booked as Goldberg. And that just caters to his weaknesses. I've already spent enough time on this video, so I'm not going to go and dig up the rest of the interviews today. But I'm absolutely certain that I've also heard Goldberg complain about the end of his run in WCW, which is when they stopped booking based on his weaknesses. So to be fair, hold on, because I'm going to be fair. I did find another interview. Let me go ahead and put that up here real quick, where he says he is actually grateful for the way that he was booked during this debut with the WWE and his feud with The Rock.
You debuted in a rivalry with The Rock, who's also in the video game. Do you have fond memories of that, of working with The Rock?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I wish he would have...
All right, it's time to go home. Goldberg sucks. Again, I won't sit here and say that he's not a legend. I won't say that he's not a critical part of professional wrestling history. I made an entire fucking video about him as my first real video, for God's sake. But I gotta ask, is he working us? Is he really this stupid? I mean, there are 1,000 other guys out there who could have been put into the exact same role, who would have succeeded just as well or even better. He just happened to be the guy they gave the gimmick to. And the reason his career starts to fall apart is because Goldberg was never willing to put in the actual care and effort that it would have taken to become a true GOAT in the world of professional wrestling. And I say all of that to say this. If Goldberg actually ever found it in his heart to give two shits about the world of professional wrestling and to actually put in the effort to giving great professional wrestling matches, not the squash match stuff that he spent his entire career, milking. If he had put in any effort into learning how to be a professional wrestler, then maybe, just maybe, I would be saying that Bill Goldberg is one of the greatest of all time. But the way his career actually turned out and the way that he reflects on it so consistently, that leaves me with no choice other than to say that Goldberg is the worst GOAT of all time.